Sweet's Journey, Chapter 10. How in the name of the Earth Dog, thought Sweet, could I have ever hesitated? How could I have thought I wouldn't get used to being Beta? She bounded ahead to where Spring and Dart were tugging at a deer leg, straining to drag it back to camp. Still gripping with their teeth, they both looked up at her, cocking their ears, waiting for her orders. Pull to the left, there, she barked encouragingly. There's a tussock, see? The haunches are getting caught on it. We'll have to drag it around. She seized the deer's neck in her own jaws and began to tug on it, showing them the way. Both the other dogs squatted back on their haunches, using the leverage to drag the deer's body further. Thanks for coming out here to help us, Beta. Dart let go of the deer for a moment, panting. This prey's awkward, to say the least. But you brought it down, Sweet pointed out encouragingly. Dart's jaws broadened in a grin. Yes, I never thought we'd manage one, but your training tips were exactly right. We don't all have to be fast, so long as we have enough hunters to drive it. Even Twitch contributed, said Spring, looking proud of her little brother. That leg holds him back, but he followed your advice and stayed out to the flank. If he hadn't been in position, the deer would have gotten away. Sweet felt warm with pleasure and satisfaction. I'm glad the training paid off, she said. We're going to do some more sparring this evening before prey sharing, aren't we? Dart twitched an ear hopefully. I'd like to learn some of your speed tricks for a fight. I need to organise tomorrow's patrols, said Sweet cautiously. Moon's still excused from hunting duty because of her pups, so we're short-pawed. But after that, why not? She gave Dart's ear an affectionate flick of her tongue. I've learned a lot from the pack, so if there's anything I can teach you back, I'm happy. I love learning new fighting skills, said Dart. It's been a long time since the pack freshened up our tactics. You know Alpha, he does nothing about that, or hunting practice. Just skulks in his den or... Dart, growled Spring warningly. Sweet shot her a dry look. Spring was one of the dogs who had her ears nipped by Fiery, for bad-mouthing the old Beta. On this occasion, the young dog was right. Dart really shouldn't show disrespect to Alpha. It was true that he took little part in organising patrols or training the younger dogs, but that was fine by Sweet. She enjoyed being Beta more than she'd ever expected, and she was happy to take on the half-full share of the practical work. After all, she was rewarded with the second-best choice of prey at the end of the day, and never went hungry or grew thin from hard work. In her more fanciful moments, she could imagine she was in charge of the whole pack herself, that she was Alpha. I should have stood up to the old Beta sooner, she thought ruefully. For that matter, I should have faced down Callie long ago, in the days when I was still in my old pack. She'd probably have respected me more if I had. And I'm good at this, better than I ever knew. If I'd been Beta of the Swift Dog pack, maybe would have never been caught by the long paws. Maybe then so many of us wouldn't have died in that terrible trap house. The dogs had dragged the deer almost to the edge of the camp by now, and Sweet was distracted from her rest when a squirming body bumped into her paw. A tiny pup, its eyes still blurry, had escaped from Moon's den and was wobbling its way into the outside world. You're an adventurous one. Laughing, Sweet left Dart and Spring to haul the deer themselves to the prey pile. She picked up the tiny pup gently in her mouth and carried it back to Moon, ignoring its protesting squeaks. Moon appeared at the entrance to the den, her face anxious. But when she caught sight of Sweet, her jaws relaxed and she let her tongue loll. She sat down and woofed gently to her pup. Oh, Squirm, you're such a wanderer already, little one. Sweet set the tiny pup down. As soon as he smelled his mother, he blundered under her body and nestled there, clearly deciding Adventure could wait until he was a few hours older. Another good hunt, Sweet? Moon nuzzled her shoulder. The pack's been well fed this last Moondog journey. I think you've brought us good luck. I hope so. I owe you all so much. Sweet returned Moon's affectionate lick. The pups are looking healthy. They're already getting too lively. Oh! Moon snapped her head around to stare, and Sweet stiffened, her hackles springing erect. The peace of the evening and the relaxed mood was shattered as Snap bounded into the clearing, her volley of barks sharp and urgent. Dogs! Dogs are approaching! A strange pack in our territory! Now Sweet saw why Alpha was the head of the pack. He sprang out of his den, leaped up to his favourite boulder, and let loose a deep barking howl of summons. Packmates, our territory is threatened by strangers. Prepare for battle. Instantly, Snap, Spring, Dart, Twitch, and Fiery bounded to his side, tails high, ears pricked keenly forward. Alpha barked out orders, fast and confident, and in moments he was tearing into the woods, his loyal followers at his heels. Filled with true admiration for her leader for the first time, Sweet paused only a moment. After checking over the camp, make sure Moon and her pups were safe and well defended, she left them with a reassuring bark and followed the rest of the fighting party. I've never been in a real battle before, she thought. Only food fights with other packs, and the fight with the long paws, and I ran away from that. While Sweet wasn't running from this battle, she was actually running toward it, and not only was she determined, she felt a thrill of real excitement in her skin and blood and nerves. She was the beta of a powerful wild pack, and she was running to confront its enemies. The others were just ahead of her now, racing up a dry stream bed, leaping from rock to flat rock, with Alpha in the lead. She bounded forward to lope alongside at his flank, her muscles tingling with pride. Alpha slowed as he reached a ridge, then turned and ran along below the skyline, till he reached a tumble of sandstone boulders. He trotted silently among them and halted, glaring down into the shallow valley below. At his side, Sweet panted quietly as she watched the ragtag bunch of dogs who were trotting down the valley. She narrowed her eyes in surprise. It was the oddest pack she'd ever seen. There was a black shaggy dog who was massive, but did not look particularly fierce. At her side were two stocky little dogs, one with a snub nose and one with a pointed face. There was a black and white farm dog who kept retracing his step and herding the others, fussing over them and trying to keep them together. There was a yellow-coated dog who reminded Sweet, a little painfully, of Lucky the city dog. This was a female, her fur sleeker and shorter, and she didn't move with Lucky's strutting, jaunty confidence. The last was an extraordinary-looking animal, and for a moment Sweet wasn't sure it was a dog at all. It looked like a trailing bundle of white moss, except it had tiny eyes in front and a black button nose. It gave a pathetic little yelp as a strand of its fur caught on a branch. A low growl was building in Alpha's throat, and Sweet shook herself. No matter how bizarre this pack of mutts looked, they were still intruders. And they must be more dangerous than they looked, because why else would they trot so confidently into the territory of a half-wolf like Alpha? Take them down, snarled Alpha. Sweet gave them a nod and growled loud in her throat to summon the others into their fighting positions. Ready, she snarled, let's teach these mutts to stay out of our packlands. The others growled their angry agreement. Sweet bounded forward, racing down the hill. The intruder dogs didn't even notice them at first, and when their heads at last came up, there was nothing but shock on their faces. Alpha was behind her. Draw blood, he howled. Drive them away. Sweet hurtled into battle, knocking one of the small dogs off its paws and sending it tumbling. Stunned and winded, but even as she spun to snap at another, something caught the corner of her vision. There was something in the trees higher up the valley. She paused, just for a moment, her fangs still bared. Was she seeing things? She lashed out with her claws, focusing on the fight, but the strained dogs were re-spinning, panicked, trying to flee. She glanced up the valley slope once more, because she was sure now that she hadn't imagined it. That flash of moment, it had been no lazy street dog strut. It was an animal, charging from between the trees, strong legs pounding in desperation, and the sundog's light gleamed on shaggy golden fur.